Hi, welcome back to the Forgetful Scholar, and this week we're going to chat about books. Two books. One a disappointment, and the other an old favorite because I needed it after the first book. So, the first book is One for the Money, a Stephanie Plum novel by Janet Evanovich. Evanovich. Ooh, I'm so sorry. So, one fine mess. Welcome to Trenton, New Jersey, home to wise guys, average Joes, and Stephanie Plum, who sports a big attitude, even bigger money problems since losing her job as a lingerie buyer for a department store. Stephanie needs cash fast, but times are tough, and soon she is forced to turn to the last resort of a truly desperate family. One false move. Stephanie lands a gig at her sleazy cousin Vinny's bail bonds company. She got no experience, but that doesn't matter. Neither does the fact that the bail jumper in question is a local vice cop, Joe Morale. From the time he first looked up her dress to the time he first got into her pants to the time Stephanie hit him with her father's Buick. Morale has spelled trouble, and now the hot guy is in hot water, wanted for murder. One for the money. Abject poverty is a great motivator for learning new skills, but being trained in the school of hard knocks by people like psycho prizefighter Benito Ramirez isn't. Still, if Stephanie can nab Morale in a week, she'll make a cool 10 grand. All she has to do is become an expert bounty hunter overnight and keep herself from getting killed before she gets her man. Okay, let me know if you guys like me reading the synopsis before I get into the review. Something new I'm trying out. Let me know. And yes, my hair is up because it's triple digits today and it's humid, so my HVAC is not working so well. So yikes. Anyway, this is a 2-star. And I was so disappointed because, you guys know I've been looking for One for the Money for a while. I have the next 2 books in the series. So please let me know. If you read it, let me know if, the next books are better or what. So let's start with the disclaimer, okay? I am a Jersey girl. I was born in Brooklyn, but raised in New Jersey, North New Jersey. So this was interesting for me. That's why I was really excited about Stephanie Plum, because I was like, a Jersey girl bounty hunter, let's go. Man. Now this takes place in the 90s. How do I say this? Because the 90s had a really bad recession. So, it made sense that she lost a job, made sense that she was on hard times, all that made sense. Also, I think it captured a certain part of Jersey now to be fair, I was a very young kid in the 90s, aging myself. So, the rampant misogyny that's in this book, I didn't have to deal with yet. But seriously, every guy in this book is an a-hole. Even her best friend, who's a cop and married to her cousin, is a misogynistic a-hole. And then her dad, you only see him when she goes over there to eat, right? He doesn't say anything. He just eats the food. He only says something when his mother-in-law that lives with them does something kooky. And I'm like, your daughter walked through the door with a bruise half of her face. Eyebrows gone because of a car bombing. You don't say shit. I was like, what the fuck? And don't give me old world. No, because my dad, born in Spain, came to America. He was old world. And if I walked into the house with my face covered in a bruise, he'd be like, what happened? ¿Qué pasó? What happened? What happened? You know what I mean? It wouldn't, and he was old school. He was old fashioned. So don't give me that shit. You know what I mean? And okay, New Jersey is a weird little state. It has a special place in my heart. Absolutely. Would I ever move back there? I don't think so. I don't think so. But it does. Now, a long time ago, right? Someone told me that I know I'm going on a tangent, but it's to explain what kind of vibe Jersey has. Explained that the creator of Batman, I know, headcanon, like Gotham City was based on Jersey City in, New Jersey. And when I heard that, I was like, yeah, that tracks. So that, I mean, if you, so that's kind of how Jersey can be. It's a very unique vibe to it, all on its own. There's no place like it. And it's weirdly beautiful. It's not filled with factories like everyone thinks. It's at, there's hidden waterfalls and random streets, and but it's a weird little place, right? So I think she did a good job of getting the vibe of Jersey, because I was like, oh, I know the synopsis on the back says she lives in New Hampshire, but I was like, damn, this must be like a Jersey girl, because like she gets it, And the thing is, I like Stephanie Plum, the character of it. Like, she reminds me of 3 girls I grew up with, all Frankenstein together. And I liked her. I was like, yeah, man, like, she's like a girl I would have been friends with in high school. Like, I get her. I understand her. But man, like, the misogyny of it. And I was like, this was written by a woman, right? Yeah, okay. It's just very... Even Joe Morale, like the guy you're hunting down, he's supposed to be, I guess, a better guy. And the only way, like, it's described, like, only way you kind of think that way is because Benito is, like, trying to SA her the whole book. Oh, yeah, this doesn't have any trigger warnings. So, in this book, there's attempted SA on Stephanie. And that monster is basically stalking her to the point where he calls her, leaves a message on her voicemail machine, because it's the 90s, while, threatening her while he's SAing a girl that's, like, crying in the background. So, if that's triggering for you, to totally understand, skip this book. Skip it. Pass it over. Give it away. No. So, I was like, oh, so we feel like the reader feels like Joe's not so bad because the other guy is serial SA'er. That's lazy, my friend. That is lazy. You couldn't have made like any redeeming quality. Like, even when Stephanie's like, oh, I don't think Joe did it, and like they kind of agree to, Joe kind of keeps her safe from Benito in exchange for like kind of helping him figure out who did it. You know what I mean? Even at that point, he's still an a-hole. And I get it. It's supposed to be like snappy, like rapport, things like that. It just fell flat for me because I get it. Like, I think the writer wants Stephanie to kind of be like a tomboy, one of the guys. But even so, some of these lines and quips, I was like, Stephanie girl, what you doing? Why the internal misogyny? Are you okay, my friend? Like, I was like, And it wasn't the first majority of the book, like, she's trying to get her feet under her and try to figure out, like, how to be a bounty hunter. She messes up. But what I liked about this is that when she messes up, she doesn't do the same mistake again. Like, she learns from it. And she asks, like, a more seasoned investigator, ranger, who actually, honestly, in this whole book, he's probably the nicest guy in the book, and he's still a dick. Like, he's still, like, he's level, like, 2 dick, where, like, her best friend's, like, a level 3, Joey's, like, Joe's, like, a level 6 dick, and then Benito is not even in that category, he's just a monster. You know what I mean? So, like, there you go. Kind of teaches her what to do here, like, the basics, but he gets injured. Things like, so, like, I liked it. I didn't expect her to be, like, bamf off the bat, right? She needed a training montage. And that's kind of what we get in the first half of the book, which makes sense to me. Even when she's doing that, like, common sense, she's like, wait, a cop is arrested for murder, but, like, you don't have this witness is gone, this. So she's like, I do think the beginning of the book where we kind of get a background on how she knows Joey wasn't really necessary. It just made him feel like even more sleazy, you know? So that was odd. I don't know if the writer wanted you to hate him and then maybe later on in the series you like him. Like, I don't know if it's like enemies redemption kind of thing. I don't know. It was just weird, man. And I really like Stephanie. And then the mom was sort of this caricature of a nagging, controlling immigrant mom. And like, I say that as a caricature because like, no one's really like that. You know what I mean? It was just kind of over the top a little bit. And I was just kind of surprised. And I get it, you know, Jersey in the 90s is not a good time. Again, recession. People are, you know, trying to, desperate. And like the mystery of it, you know, and I don't know if it's because I read a lot of mysteries, but basically when those things, like when the bad guy is mentioned on page, I'm like, oh, he did the murder, you know, for various reasons. Oh, okay. Like when he first comes on, and I don't think you're supposed to figure that out yet. And then when the place where the bodies are hidden and stuff like that, I was like, oh, that's where they are. Okay, yeah. And I don't think it's supposed to be that easy for the reader to figure out, because that's a little disappointing if it is. So the mystery wasn't all that compelling. I really didn't care about Joe being exonerated. I did think it was funny that she stole his car. Like, she's trying to get him and he keeps slipping away from her. So eventually she steals his car and starts using it because her car got repoed, right? I thought that was funny. I legitimately thought that was funny. So like there's moments that I was like, oh, this is funny. When Joe goes through her bathroom window when she's showering and like handcuffs her to the shower railing, I was like, he's a piece of shit. I don't know where this, and this is like in the middle of the book, and I was like, I don't know where this story is going, but he's a piece of shit. And the whole time I was worried for her because Benito already tried to SA her, already tried to break into her apartment. So like, I was like, oh, like just that low level anxiety of being a woman was like raging its head up. I'm like, oh shit. And if you know what I mean, right? Like, there's a reason why, you know that feeling, when you're walking past a dark alleyway, you know what I mean? That feeling. Which is a shame, because again, I really like the character of Stephanie Plum. Like, I got who she was. Like, nostalgia, she reminded me, again, of, like, 3 girls I grew up with. One I wasn't friends with, but, like, that's fine. You know what I mean? I thought she was interesting, and, like, I'm, like, bummed out, because I really wanted to like it. Really wanted to, like, love it. So, you know, so please if you've read it before, let me know if, like, it kind of gets better. And I get it, you know? But, like, it's just, like, the guys in this seemed, like, really immature. Even though they're all, like, in their 30s, I think, like, mid-20s to, like, mid-30s. Because I was, like, and the weird thing is, I wouldn't say it triggered me, because it didn't trigger me. Like, that's a whole different kettle of fish, right? But it did bring up some memories of childhood, like being bullied, because, you know, puberty hit me hard. So from 11 to 12, I shot out, and, you know, having a preteen, being in class with preteen boys that were, like, chest height. That's what these guys reminded me of. The boys I grew up with when they were 12. Not, you know, at the end of high school, but like in the beginning of junior high. So I was like, that's a little weird that these are supposed to be grown-ass men. And they're just reminding me of, like, not Benito. He's a monster all in himself, you know. But like the other guys in the story, it's just like, these are men in their 30s, right? Because they're acting like guys just found out. Men that just found out, you know, like boys that just found out that boobs are fun. You know what I mean? Like, it was weird. They were a little too immature for me to actually be like, oh, they're adults. Maybe if they were like 19 or something, I would have been like, oh, okay. A little immature for 19, but like, Okay, I'm rambling on. But because I was so bummed out, right? So let me know. Because, like, I have the 2 next books in the series. I was thinking maybe checking out the second one, seeing if it, like, evolves a little bit more. Let me know if you read it. Let me know if it's worth it. If not, I might just give them away, you know? But because of that, I was so bummed that I had to revisit one of my favorite Malory-Anderson family books. I know, I feel like I'm going through a whole series of these books, like revisiting them, and this time in order. It's weird. I don't know if I'm going to continue to do that, but this was definitely a nice palate cleanser. I needed it because the Stephanie Plum book was about to spiral me into a reading slump, and I don't want to do that. I did not want that to happen. So I read A Gentle Rogue, a Malory-Anderson family book 3. Okay. Gentle Rogue. Heartsick and desperate to leave her sorrows on England's shores, innocent Georgina Anderson seeks passage on the gentleman's ship Maiden Anne. Disguised as a cab boy, the captain, however, is no gentleman. He is the ex-pirate and irresistible rank James Malory. The black sheep of a proud, tempestuous family, Malory soon sees through Georgina's masquerade and is enchanted by the courageous, high-spirited lady that he has forced into immediate servitude. But though he has sworn he will never be enticed into matrimony, Captain Malory has finally met his match on the high seas, undone by the passionate heart of one remarkable beauty whose love of freedom and adventure rivals his own. So, this is one of my 5 stars. You know, this has to do with James Malory. We've seen him before. He's Anthony Malory's older brother. He is Regina Malory's uncle. He is the third. So the Malorys, the older brother's Jason. He's the Marquis of something. And then there's Edward, who is a business genius, and he's the reason they all are ridiculously wealthy, not only in title land, but in actual monies. Then there was their sister Melissa, who was Regina's mother, and she passed away, and the brothers raised Regina. And then there's James Malory, who this book is about, and then Anthony Malory. So James Malory, and obviously the writer's favorite. This is one of the book, like, you really like him in this book. And there's books later on in the series, he's in it, he takes over the story, it's annoying. Obviously, this is his story, so he's not taking it over. And this is the first time when an Anderson enters this world, right? So, Georgie, as she's affectionately called, I love her. I always do. She's one of my favorite. She's like top 3 favorite female characters. And, like, even though she's not described this way, I always, in my head, picture Sandra Bullock. I don't know why. I just do. So, she has 5 brothers of her own, and she is the youngest, I believe, yeah. And she is from Connecticut, America, and this is like 1818, and all her brothers are captains and own part, and she owns too. Their family company is Skylark, I think it's called. Anyway. Or Skyline, I don't know, whatever. They own a shipping ship company. They own ships and they're merchants and stuff like that, and they're very wealthy. She's been in love, crush on this boy named Malcolm, who used to work for her brothers. He disappeared in England, so her brothers were like, okay, yeah, next time we'll take you. But they're all on their ships, all doing their routes, West Indies, things like that. So she's like, screw that, and she goes to England with a family friend, Ian McDowell, Ian. He's known them forever. He knows the kid forever. He's always lived next door. He worked for their parents, stuff like that. So he's gonna keep her safe because she's too stubborn to not do what she's about to do. And the thing of it, she is frustrating and stubborn, and you're supposed to be frustrated with her, but she gets so much better. Like, as the book, I love her progression, and you understand where she's coming from. She finds out Malcolm married someone else, and she's absolutely devastated. She's not really. It was just a stupid crush. She's in the Anthony story, the second book in this family series, for a second. She is the girl dressed up as a boy that James Mallory carried out of a tavern, the same tavern where in Anthony's story, a serving girl jumped on his lap and kind of caused problems from him and his new wife, Rosaline. So, and James was enchanted with her from that meeting, and he went back to the tavern a couple times to see, like, to find her. So when she's desperate to go home, and he's the only ship going to the West Indies, not exactly to America, but the West Indies, it's a normal port for her family ships, so she could hop on one of them and go home. That's her thoughts, right? So from the get-go, James knows that this is the same girl that dresses up like a boy that he's been looking for. So from the get-go, there is no, like, hidden identity. He knows. He knows from the beginning. So there is no, like, oh, she lied to him. No. He knows, right? And he is such a dick about it. Like a dick, but not like, ew, I hate him. Like, oh, this scoundrel. You know, kind of endearing in a way. And especially since, and you see moments where, because he is very sarcastic and he purposely likes to push people's buttons. But you see from the beginning a different side of him when it comes to Georgie. She's dressed up as a boy, and she was kind of staring at the shoreline disappearing because she was immediately going to get off, right? And one of the other crew, like, tells her to move. She mouths back. The crew member hits her. Again, the crew member thinks that this is a 10-year-old boy mouthing back to him, right? And crew member is higher ranking because that's the cabin boy, right? So, and then you see James' best friend and first mate, yeah, holding back James because James is about to jump off of where the steering wheel on the ship is. I know ships, yeah. And go beat the shit out of this guy that hit Georgie. So it's everything that Comrade had to do to kind of wrestle him down. So automatically you see that there's a difference, and there's a certain line he's not going to cross with her. And he sets out to seduce her. He does. But she's not an unwilling participant because she's captivated by him, even though he irritates the crap out of her. And as always in romance novels, she's normally a very even-tempered girl, but he just frustrates her so much. She's always pissed off. Oh, like, it's cute, He, like, invokes a different emotion in her than anybody else, and so forth. I will say, when this comes to a close, well, not comes to a close, but the forced marriage, this scene, I always love this scene. This is, like, my favorite scene in a romance book, okay? So, romance stuff happens, and they become lovers, and by the time they hit the West Indies, James is already thinking about keeping her as a mistress. I know that's an insult, but James Mallory has never had a mistress, but he's so, like, unknowingly captivated with her, he doesn't want to let her go, right? So that's the only thing he could think of, at this moment. But she sees her brother Boyd's ship, so she immediately goes over, doesn't say goodbye, nothing like that. And, James sees her on the deck with this guy. He doesn't know who this guy is to her. He's super jealous and super furious. So immediately he's like, he gathers the crew back up and they follow her brother's ship back to America. And they scope out the town and figure out they're having a big ball and stuff like that. So, because it's the first time in a long time all the brothers are in the town, right? So he goes to this party and he makes a big spectacle of, like, Georgie dressing as a boy and being his cabin boy. So the brothers drag him into the study and beat the crap out of him. Now, this is the same James Mallory that's, like, badass, and I guess, like, the author's equivalent of John Wick in this world, right? Whatever. But he doesn't fight back, so he takes the beating from the brothers. And during all this, Georgie faints, right? So they put her on the couch. He wakes up. They're like, they're going to force him to marry her, and then they're going to hang him for being a pirate because they recognize him as Pirate Hawk. And Warren, the brother that you're not supposed to like, wants him to hang. Now, Warren, let me continue on this, my favorite scene, and then I'll talk about Warren. He wakes up, he sees her passed out. He's furious, wanted to make sure she's okay. She wakes up, and Boyd wakes her up the stupidest way, and like it's like throws water on her face, and instead of cleaning her face with her brother's handkerchief, she's cleaning off the blood on James' face, and he's sitting there letting her. So like Thomas, who's sort of the Anderson's family version of Edward, very even tempered, very nice, very logical, he already knows that James loves his sister. And that shows that, in that scene, he's convinced, because he theorized that Georgie loved James too. And then seeing that together, he's like, yep, I knew it. So they forced James into marrying her. But really, like, he planned the whole thing because he just couldn't, like, get over his own, like, because he swore he would never get married. So he couldn't get over that. So he had her brothers force him to marry her. But, like, I know I'm not doing the scene justice because it is so cute and I love every moment of it. So they're forced to get married, and then they go back to England, and hijinks pursue, but it's basically like the slowing down of the story. Warren, who wanted to hang him for being a pirate, you know, her brothers obviously follow her to England because they're terrified for her. Thomas is not, Boyd is not, but the other brothers are worried for her, right? Boyd and Drew are the two younger ones. Thomas is like the middle one. They know that Georgie loves him and he loves Georgie. They're just worried about making sure she's okay. The older two, Clinton and Warren, Clinton wants to make sure Georgie's alive, healthy, and okay. Probably take her back home. Warren wants to take her back home and have Hawk hang, right? So that's where it is. I love the ending, and I swear the forced marriage part is the cutest. I love it so much. It just picked up my mood so completely. And Warren, you're not supposed to like him in this book. There's hints of why he's such a bastard. But, like, the thing is, he is the main hero in the next book. And this is what Lisa Kleypas... Ooh, did I just... No, that's the wrong author. Johanna Lindsey. Oh, my God. How'd that happen? Anyway, this is a pure example what Johanna Lindsey is so good at. She could write a character that you... like, is the enemy of the book you're reading, right? In the next book, they're the romantic lead, and you absolutely love them. Like, you hate them in one book, absolutely love them in their book. And it is something Johanna Lindsey is so good at. Like, a masterclass, you know what I mean? Because you hate Warren in this book because he wants James dead, right? And he's trying to, you know, all this stuff. But in his story... you adore him, you want him to be happy with Amy. Like, it's so good. She's so good at redeeming the bad characters. Masterclass. So obviously that was 5 stars. I don't want to, but it's time for me to get back to the real world. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye. Hi guys, welcome back to The Forgetful Scholar, and this week we're going to chat about books, 2 books. So one is kind of a revisit, historical romance, and the other is a paranormal